Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we're going over some product updates, empties, and some viewer requests. So first up, let's take a look at the Cle de Peau concealer versus the Pat McGrath concealer. All right, so this is a Pat McGrath concealer. I really like this concealer. I typically use this mixed with something a little bit thinner. But this is shade L1. You can see it's going to be a full coverage, heavy duty concealer. You don't need to use much of this. This actually works really well if you just go in with like the lightest layer possible, and it performs beautifully. It lasts all day. If you go in a little bit too much with it, you can end up with creasing. This here is the new Cle de Peau, the concealer. This is shade Ivory, so this is their lightest. And you can see even just on my hand when they're spread out that the Cle de Peau is going to be a little bit thinner in consistency, and it's going to be a little bit smoother and more blurring. So I'm going to show you an application video of these two concealers side by side so you can kind of see what they look like. This is a Pat McGrath concealer in L1. Just going to put a little bit on here. And I'm taking the Sonia G soft concealer brush. I actually didn't need quite this much product, so I'm going to use a finger to kind of tap some of that out. I haven't used this one in a while, but I have to say, really love the Pat McGrath concealer. So here is one thin layer. Now on the other side, we're going to take the Cle de Peau concealer. This is the stick concealer. My hands are a little cold, so I'm just going to warm it up a little bit more, just with a little friction here. And let's put that on. I think I need a little bit more product. I think I rubbed too much of it into my finger. All right, so here's the coverage of both of those. Let's go in with a second layer and see how that builds. So here's the Pat McGrath. All right, so look at that up close. And now for the Cle de Peau, a second coat. Just wipe a little excess off on my finger. All right, so what do you think? Which one looks better? I have done wear tests with them, and I have to say that, you know, first of all, disclaimer, my Pat McGrath concealer is old now. So perhaps a very fresh tube might perform a little bit better, but I do end up, unless I go in with the very lightest of layers, it's a little bit more visible over time than the Cle de Peau. Now, I do have to say that the Cle de Peau, though, being in this stick form, you really do need to warm it up to get its full potential from it. If you put it on and your hands are cold, or like I personally like to use my finger to apply this one. But, you know, unless you are in a warm environment or you're using warm fingers and so forth, this can look a little bit, I don't know how to describe it, more mask-like essentially. Like you can see it more sitting on your skin. The Pat McGrath also looks like it can be sitting on your skin, you know, depending on how you put that on. But I just feel like personally, I think the Cle de Peau melts in your skin a little bit better. You do need to warm it up. But I think that between the two of them, the Cle de Peau wins for me over the Pat McGrath. However, I think that the Pat McGrath is a really great option. It's also a lot more affordable than the Cle de Peau, and there's a better color range. So I think there are hits and misses for both particular concealers. Personally, I choose the Cle de Peau just slightly above the Pat McGrath, but I have to give credit to the Pat McGrath for the, you know, it works really well. You've got a better shade range it's affordable, and I think that liquid formula versus the stick formula, it's just easier to customize to your skin. So personally for me, I usually like to mix in something like the Chanel Rosy Light Drops. You know, these, I like to mix this in, or I mix in a concealer that, you know, maybe I'm trying to use up. I use the Sisley Phytocerance Eclat a lot with that one, because that one's a little bit too dark, but the Pat McGrath is a little bit too light for me. So I like to mix those. And yeah, I just think it's a little bit more customizable, so you can get exactly what you want from it. And I have to say, when I do customize the Pat McGrath and I mix it with the Sisley, just having that mix there, I think it performs just a little bit better over a long period of time versus it just on its own. So just some notes on that. But overall, I would pick the Cle de Peau over it. However, if you are trying to stay within a certain budget for concealers, the Pat McGrath is a great option. It's a really good runner-up. Now, I also had a swatch request for the Chantecaille Lip Chic in Freesia, which is this from the Giraffe collection. So it's this rosy shade. This is one sheer layer, and that is 3 layers there. So you can see it's a really soft sheer pink, you know, and this is the Hermes Rose Nymphaea. This is going to be brighter. It's more cooler in tone, and you can see it's definitely more like bubblegum pink. There's more warmth in the Chantecaille, and it's more rosy versus pink. Okay, so here these are again. I have to say, I really like both products. So I think they're both great. It just depends what you're looking for. And yeah, really nice. Now we are going to dupe the Chantecaille Giraffe Quad as well. But first, let me go through some of these items that I have sitting here so I can clear up some space. So we've got some items that I've used up and my thoughts on those, as well as, you know, just kind of some updates on some things. So I first wanted to start with this. This is the Chantecaille Gold PM set. So this is one of those sets that comes with 4 little bottles, and you're supposed to use 1 bottle per week. And, you know, with certain brands, they have different rules. Sometimes you use only this, sometimes you use this and a moisturizer. In this particular set, you are recommended to basically wash your skin. You put this on, and it's a nighttime booster serum. So it says uniquely concentrated for visible impact. The powerful ingredients work overnight to visibly brighten, smooth fine lines and wrinkles, and replenish and renew the look of skin in just a few short weeks. The addition of a gold heptapeptide offers visible smoothing power, and a unique algae extract resets skin overnight. So you're supposed to use this every 3 months for a month. So you put this on after you wash your skin. Then you put on your favorite serum and your favorite moisturizer. And those are the directions. So I used this. I started it on November 28th, 21. And then I used it up. You know, I have to say, each vial lasted me between 1.5 and 2 weeks. So I just kept using until it was gone. So I actually finished this in the middle of January. So you know, this is really going to give you 6 to 7 weeks worth of product in here. So I also want to say I was gifted this from Chantecaille. So this was in exchange for the video I did on their last sale like months ago. So I've been testing it out since then, and I have a little video clip here to show you of what it looked like when I started versus when I finished, and I followed the directions to the letter. So I did not stray, didn't miss a night, and these are the results. All right, so it's nighttime, and I'm starting the Chantecaille PM routine for like 28 days. So I just washed my face. I don't have anything on it right now. You can see there's still like a little water, but this is the starting point. So the directions say to take a drop of this. This is 1 drop. So it's actually pretty large drop, and put this on, and then you follow with your favorite serum and moisturizer, and that's it for the night. So that's enough for my face, but I didn't do my chest with that one drop, so I'm going to get another drop specifically for my neck and chest. All right, and this serum, you know, like you could see, like it's kind of viscous. Looks like it has a milky texture, but it feels watery. It doesn't feel oily. It actually evaporates very quickly. So it's drying as I put it on. So yeah, I think one drop for each area, I think is probably good. Let's hope there's enough in here. You have 4 of these little containers and you go through 1 a week. So again, this is a starting point, and I'll check back in when we're all done. All right, so I finished up the little gold vials for PM from Chantecaille, and it took longer than a month. Each vial lasted me just around 1.5 weeks or so. But this is the morning after applying it. I haven't washed my face yet. And let me know if you notice any differences. So I hope that was helpful so you can see, you know, kind of what it did to my skin. And, you know, it's a pricey little product. So is it something that is worth it? I think that's really going to be a personal decision. Is it something that's going to be miraculous on your skin? Personally, I don't think so. I don't think there really are any skincare products that are going to make a huge drastic difference in your skin. So, you know, small changes, they can add up over time, but these are the results that I got with that. So, you know, I will let you make your own judgment on the product. Next up, product update. This is Fable and Mane. So I purchased this during the last Sephora sale. You see, I've been using it, but not like a ton. When I first got it, I was using it all the time. I have psoriasis and it's most active on my scalp. So that's why I picked this up. This is the Amla Soothing Serum, and it just has a really strong like herbal fragrance to it. So I put it on. It does feel soothing. It's comfortable. I do actually really enjoy this product. So I need to use it more, but honestly, it's the scent's just a little strong for me because you put this on, you know, before bed. You use a few dropperfuls, massage it into your head, and, you know, then you go to bed. So I just got a little tired of the scent overnight, which is why I haven't been using as much. But you're supposed to use this bi-weekly for best results and leave it in overnight. So I think it's really nice. I think it is a little soothing. Again, it's not something that's gonna like cure my psoriasis or anything like that. But if you do have like an itchy scalp or something like that, this could be something helpful. This is the packaging that it came in. And yeah, I picked this one up from Sephora. So overall, I like it, and I do plan on finishing up the bottle. And then I also wanted to mention this from Chantecaille. This is the Bio Lifting Mask Plus. This is the one for Lunar New Year. So they gifted this to me, and I have been using this. I use this once a week, and I put it on as a nighttime moisturizer and leave it on overnight. So I usually do this every Friday night, leave it on until Saturday morning. And I have to say, I really like this. You know, it's, again, nothing's a miracle skin product, but I do actually see like immediate effects. They are temporary, but when I use it, I really do notice that my skin looks a little bit more taut and lifted. It's very comfortable. You can use this in small amounts as a moisturizer, or you can, you know, put it on more for a mask. I've done it both ways, and I think it's a really great product. So I'm really enjoying this, and I would pick this one up again. I wanted to mention one of my favorite Sisley products. So this here is the Hydro Global Serum. There are 2 products that look like this. They have packaging that is pretty much the same. And this is the Anti-Aging Hydration Booster. So there is another one that says Hydro Global, and it says like, I forget, anti-aging something. You know, it's almost identical, but this hydration booster is the one that I like. And the other one is, sorry, I know there's like a glare. The other one I think is not worth the money personally. Like it's fine, but it's nothing special. But this is something, it's this hydrating serum essentially. Let me show you what it looks like here. But this is it. So it's like a gel-like serum. And you put this on underneath. I mean, you can use this just as your moisturizer, or you can put this on underneath a heavier duty moisturizer. But what it really does for me, when I layer this, it basically supercharges my moisturizer. It creates like a really nice barrier. I feel like my skin looks better. It retains more moisture. And, you know, all the claims for my daily moisturizer actually seem to just perform better. So this is something, you know, this is my second bottle of it. For the winter and the colder months, it's a must-have. During the summer months, sometimes I'll use this as my only moisturizer. But in particular, during the winter, I think it's a must-have for me. All right, a few hair care things I've used up. This is the conditioner I use. They have changed the packaging, so now it's not in black packaging anymore, I believe. But this is the Christophe Robin Regenerating Mask with rare prickly pear seed oil. And this is the third one that I've gone through. I'm using a fourth one right now. And it's a mask, but really it's a conditioner. So I have the shampoo and the conditioner. I actually have pretty much everything from that line. By the way, I do have a code from Christophe Robin for 25% for you guys. This was not gifted or anything, but they did give me a code for you. And I have that on my shop list along with products that I personally use from them. So this, I think, is a fantastic conditioner. I keep coming back to it. You know, it's considered like regenerating, kind of like heavy duty, but it's not like one of those ones that like weighs down your hair. It's just a nice like medium weight consistency. I'd show you, but unfortunately I washed this out. But I think it's great. I usually buy this from, I forget whether it's Skin Store or Derm Store, one of those when they do, you know, their sales. So I would definitely buy it on sale. It's kind of pricey on its own, but it does last me a while. I probably go through maybe 3 of these a year, and that's with, you know, long hair here. So yeah, I really like this. So I think it's really a great conditioner, and you can use it as a hair mask, you know, put it in, leave it in for a while, take a bath, and that works really well as well. But I just use it as my daily conditioner personally. I also finished up another little bottle of the Olaplex number 3. And I like this. When I first started using this, it really made a big difference in my hair. But now I have to use like almost like the whole bottle to really see results like at one time. So I'm not going to repurchase this right now. I do have another bottle of it right now that I'm using, but I feel like it's just not very cost effective for me. So I like the product, but I'm not going to purchase anymore for a while at least. All right, so you probably know I'm a huge Retreve fan. I use a lot of Retreve products. Right now, I'm using only a couple products from them while I'm using some other brands. But for the most part, I really love Retreve products, and they are like a go-to for me, particularly for nighttime skincare. During the daytime, I use the Nutrient Face Serum. I use that pretty much every day. But during the nighttime, I use some of their other products as well. Aside from skincare though, this is one of my favorite products from them. This is the Dermal Defense Hand Cream. It's the best hand cream for me. I've never found something that works so well and doesn't feel greasy on the skin. So I put this on at night before bed every single night, and it is fantastic. I always buy these on sale and I stock up. I buy 3 or 4 at a time. Sometimes they do like a set where you can buy 4 for a discounted price, or it's like buy 2, get the 3rd free. Maybe it's not that good of a deal. But you know, you can get them on sale. So that's what I do. I stock up on these. I use them. My daughter has eczema. She has a bottle of this as well, because during the winter with playing outside and so forth, her hands get really messed up, you know, to the point where sometimes the skin cracks and can bleed and so forth. And this has really helped with that, just preventing it from happening. So the hand cream is fantastic. I go through many jars of this. Using it once a day, I use like one pump, and the way I do it is I pump it onto this part of my hand, and then so I pump it on here, and then I just rub my hands together like this, and then I rub it over here, because I feel like if I put it directly in the palm of my hand, I waste too much product on this part of my hand, and I really want to get the benefits here. And yeah, so it lasts me about 4 months for one of these. So just once a day. So I keep 3 of them around the house at all times, but the one I use daily at night is about four months. And then I also have the Luminous Cleansing Elixir, which I've used up. I really like this cleansing elixir, but I have to say that I haven't really been using cleansing balms as much anymore. So I am using a jar of this right now, but my normal routine now for removing makeup is the Chanel oil cleanser, the L'Huile. I'm not exactly sure how to say it, the L apostrophe Huile, L'Huile. So it's the oil, and I use a pump of that. I've actually had the bottle for a very long time. I'm only halfway through it. It really lasts a long time. The reason I like this one is that I really only need a little bit. I can use 1 to 1.5 pumps for my whole face, with having plenty to like really focus on my eyes and getting off all the eyeliner, mascara, and so forth. I started using this one when I started using the Surratt Lash Tint, because it requires an oil-based remover, and I found that the cleansing balms, it just needed a little bit more work to remove it than the cleansing oil does. So I removed my makeup with that. I, put on the oil, and then I rinse with water before using a cloth. Then I kind of dry my face a little bit, put this balm on, and then I remove this with a cloth for anything that's left over. And that's been working out really well for me. I'm really happy with this technique, and I feel like I have like less like tugging or, pressure or anything to remove my makeup. So those are the products I'm using right now. I'm really happy with that routine. And then sometimes, instead of using the cleansing balm, I will go in with this. I started this May 2021. I have this much left. This is Suku's Enriched Foaming Wash. And you really need just like the tiniest bit. So I use about this much. So I put this much on, I lather it with water, and it's not like, like a super airy foam or anything, but it really does like kind of emulsify in the foam. I can cover my whole face. If I use too much of it, it can feel a little drying, but I've been using this. I actually used it once a day since May 2021. Sometimes I use it twice a day, but I mean, you can see how long this lasts. So it's really incredible. And I want to say, yeah, I can't remember if this was gifted to me last year, or if it, like a gift with purchase from when I placed one of my counter orders. So yeah, it's a really, really great facial wash. A few other Retreve products I've used up. The Revitalizing Eye Concentrate. This took me, it took me almost 2 years to use this up. This is the big size. They now have a completely round bottle. This is an oval. I have repurchased this. So basically what I do is I put on like a regular night cream, and I usually do that an hour or so before going to bed. I get like in my pajamas and everything, and then I go do some stuff. And then right before bed, I tap on a little bit of this over it, and I just find it makes a huge difference when I remember to do that. So 30 milliliters, and it lasted almost 2 years. So, it's totally worth the price for me. I also used up the Intensive Replenishing Facial Moisturizer. This is another one that I use only at night, and I don't use this all the time. So this one lasted me quite a while. I started this in September 19th, 2020. And I finished this in January. But again, I used it sparingly, only when my face needed like extra moisture and so forth. It's too heavy for me to use during the daytime. They do have a lighter weight moisturizer as well as a nutrient face serum. But I really like this one for just when I feel like my skin needs some extra moisture infused into it. And then I also used up another Sisley lip balm. This is my favorite lip balm. It just has like a really great texture. And I mean, I used it up to the last drop. So yeah, I'm going to repurchase this one again. It's, it's a favorite for me. Now I have to say that the lip balm itself, it's not like the most reparative or anything, but it just has a really great texture that feels very comfortable to wear. And if I do wear it overnight, which is how I typically wear it, then it lasts all night. When I wake up, I still have some left on my lips. So this lasted me about 6 months of twice daily use. And then the last item I wanted to mention is this. This is something I've recently incorporated into my routine. I started on January 24th. This is from Revive, and they gifted this to me. This is the environmental antioxidant booster. Now, what you do is you take this and you add 1 or 2 drops. So this is a twist off, and you add 1 or 2 drops to your moisturizer. So you can see it's just a thin liquid. And if you have a moisturizer that's a little bit too heavy for you, this actually does really kind of like water that down nicely so that, it's like a easier to smooth consistency. But the point of this is that it's supposed to be giving you more like protection from your environment. So it says pollution, IR, or infrared, smoke, and blue light wavelengths can all damage the skin. This miracle booster has been formulated with ingredients known to help protect from environmental aggressors and improve the appearance of damaged skin. So it's essentially a shield, and it says it has a super dose of antioxidants and proteins such as SOD, turmeric, green tea, vitamins E and C, and you really only need 1 to 2 drops. So you're supposed to use this AM and PM all over your face. So I've been doing that, and I have to say I really like the consistency. As to whether it's had any like effect on my skin at this point, I can't tell, but I do really like the actual product, like how it feels and so forth. So, we'll see how it goes. So let's move on to the Chantecaille Giraffe Quartet dupe. So I personally really love this palette. I think it's a really beautiful combination of neutrals, but for me, this shimmery shade here is the one standout. That's the one that I really reach for in this, and that's what makes this quartet special. Now, several people have asked me to kind of go through what I have and swatch some suggested dupes. I do have more suggestions and comparisons in my review video on the Chantecaille collection. However, we've got, I took what I consider to be my closest dupes and recreated that, the palette today. So here's that. This is kind of the closest that I have. I've gone through all of my eyeshadows, and you can't quite dupe it, but this is probably the closest that I can get. So I have both of them on my eyes right now. So just looking from here, can you tell which one is the giraffe and which one is the dupe? So let's find out. So we are duping the Chantecaille Giraffe palette, and we're doing it with as few different palettes as possible, but it's tough. So here's the first shade. I'm just gonna leave a little space here between these. All right, so this is the Giraffe Quad. Now, this is the Viseart Cashmere palette. This shade here is relatively close here to the first shade in the draft. You can see that the Viseart is a little bit warmer in tone, but they are really close, and they're both gonna be matte shades. As for the white, we're going into the Givenchy 9.03 palette. This white is a pretty intense white as well. You can see that there's a little more gold in the Givenchy, and it's more like the sparkles appear to be looser in the Chantecaille, whereas this is a little bit more foiled looking of a finish. And then the closest one that I have for the third shade is actually the Petite Four from Viseart in Chocolat. And I went through all of my Tom Fords, all of my Surratts, you know, like everything. So we're actually looking at this last shade here. And this is my closest. The difference is this is not going to be, this is a matte. And the Chantecaille is a little bit more of a satin. But unfortunately, I don't have anything quite the right tone. This is a little bit rustier, a little bit, you know, brighter and orangier. But it's kind of my closest. Now, I don't want to use more palettes than I've already used. This shade here, there really is no true dupe for it, but we're going to look at combining a couple. So this is the 9.03 palette. So mixing a couple of these together, we're going to mix these two here. So just gonna get a mix of those on my hand here. Okay, and let me show you what that looks like. So it's fairly close. I mean, you can make it more purpley or more brown. It's also a little bit more duochromy this way, but I do think that's a really good option. Okay, and then from the Viseart, I mixed these two plus this one, and this is another option. So this is the Viseart Cashmere. So let's add just a little bit more of this purpley shade on top here. I think I had a little too much brown. But you can see none of them quite match the Chantecaille, but those are going to be the closest ones that I have. So I did have a request to do this dupe on the eyes. So we're going to go ahead. I'll use the dupe shades on my left eye and Giraffe on the right. And let's see how they appear. Taking the Esom S33 into the first shade here. And just going to softly put that in the crease. And I think we'll just do this side by side at the same time, so that way you can see how the individual shades kind of compare. So next we're going into, I wiped the brush off, but we're going into the Viseart Cashmere. And let's just put a little bit of this in the crease. Just wipe off the brush a little. So there are the two. You can see I have a larger swath on the Viseart. So next we're taking the Sonia G Builder from the Lotus series into this bottom left shade. And just going to put this right here on the outer portion. Now, one of the things to know about this shade is that it actually starts off very sheerly. If you want to get to the color in the pan, you kind of have to layer it or wet it. So you can see how light that actually is on the lid. So next I'm taking the Viseart Chocolat Petite Four, and let's put this on the other eye. So here's the difference in tones. Wiping off that brush, I'm now going to use the same one into this more purpley taupe shade down at the bottom. And let me just knock off anything excess. And I'm just kind of tapping this on because I'm trying not to get too much fallout. So here's that. And then between these two combinations, I like the Givenchy combination a little bit more. So plus it's only 2 shades instead of 3 to mix. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to mix these two here on, so I'm taking like parts of it and putting it on my hand to like make sure it's even on the brush. And let's go ahead and try this out. You can see that this is not going to be the same finish. It's not quite so sparkly. But I do think color-wise, it's very similar. So if I wanted to make this shimmer the same, I would just add a topper. So let's get one. I'm going to take this one. This is Dior Coral Look. And this is a topper shade here. I'm just going to use my finger to pat a little bit of that on. Still not quite the same. Let's try adding a little bit of this one, which is a white one. You know what? Let's try it with the brush instead and just see if that makes it a little bit more diffuse. I think it's too frosty. So not quite right. Just gonna go over this with the eyeshadow mix one more time, and then we're gonna try the Suku toppers. So I'm just gonna take this one here. This is from the 101 palette. I'm just gonna get my brush here. So it's more finely milled. Yeah, unfortunately, you just can't quite dupe that shade. And then last up, we're going to take the tip of this brush into the white. And I'm just going to add that to the inner corner here. And then we're going to do the same with the white in the Givenchy palette. All right, so this is my dupe of the Chantecaille Giraffe. All right, so here is the dupe from a distance. This is the side here with the giraffe quartet, and here we have the dupe. So let me know what you guys think, if I came pretty close. And again, these are the swatches from a distance. So we have giraffe quartet, and then this one here is from the Viseart Cashmere palette, and giraffe. This is Givenchy 9.03. Giraffe, Viseart Petite Four Chocolat. Giraffe, this is a combination of the shades in the Givenchy 9.03. This is a combination of shades in Viseart Cashmere. So those are the dupes. So I hope that was helpful. And again, if you're looking for any comparisons to any of the particular shades in this quartet, I would definitely check out the review video. I have a lot more comparisons in there as well. And there might be something in your collection that is close enough to something already. So in my opinion, you can't truly dupe the palette just because of this shade. Actually, this shade here is really unique as well, but for me, this is the one I kind of focus on. So I feel like you can't truly dupe it. And for me personally, I don't like having to take out so many different palettes and products at one time to do an eye look. So I personally would just purchase the quartet, but I know a lot of people do like to, mix and match. And if you already have the colors, why not? Or why not try it and see whether it's, a combination that you would wear a lot, and then maybe consider investing in a quartet so it's all easier in one place, or perhaps you can find singles and so forth. So I do hope the dupe was helpful, and thank you to all of you who requested it, because I thought it was really kind of fun to go through and see how close I could get. So that sums up everything for today, and please let me know if you have any requests for the next update video. And I will see you very soon. So have a great day and stay safe and healthy.